Welcome to the Deep Dive. Shorter episode today focused on the only news at the moment, and that is the Warriors. Media day on Monday for 25 teams. I can't wait. Okay, let's unpack this a bit because we are really staring down the barrel of one of the most, interesting and financially complicated training camp starts I can remember. The Golden State Warriors organization seems to be in like a full-blown high-stakes standoff. And it touches everything, veteran deals, future finances, the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're looking for a crash course in NBA leverage at the highest level, this is it right here. This deep dive, it's really about putting together the commitments the Warriors have managed to get and then figuring out this absolute choke point created by their key restricted free agent. And what's so fascinating is that basically every other agreement they have kind of hinges on resolving this one standoff. It's fundamentally a battle over, control and future cash.
Right, that whole concept, restricted free agency, RFA, that's the entire backdrop for this crisis, really. For anyone listening who maybe isn't deep in the weeds, just remember this. Normally, with an RFA, the original team has most of the power, right? They can match any offer sheet.
Exactly.
But that power balance, it just flips completely if the player digs in, refuses a long-term deal, and says, nope, I'm taking the qualifying offer. That's the pivot point here.
And the stakes, like you said, aren't just about this season. It's about that term you keep hearing, the second apron, that dreaded line in the sand. Every single dollar Kuminga eventually signs for directly impacts where the Warriors land relative to that luxury tax threshold.
Yeah.
And that dictates everything. Trade flexibility, exceptions, basically the tools you need to keep a championship window open when your stars are, expensive.
Okay, so Sunday was wild then, a real flurry of activity. It seemed like the Warriors, despite all this Kuminga drama, are trying to push forward with their immediate plans. We saw those verbal commitments finally roll in to shore up the bench, the front court. Familiar names, too. Gary Payton II, DeAnthony Melton, and the big one, Al Horford.
Yeah, locking those guys down, assuming the Kuminga thing works out, really stabilizes the roster. Let's start with Gary Payton II, GP2. He's 32 now, still that key defensive energy guy off the bench for them. The main thing here, I think, is his health. He just came off his healthiest season since that 22 title run, played 62 games, 11 in the playoffs. He's, only 6'2", but he plays way bigger. Guards multiple spots, finishes plays, doesn't create them, but finishes. He's vital to their system.
He really is. And Melton now, that's a fascinating story. He's 27, prime years, perfect 3-and-D guy. But listeners might need a reminder on the weird way he got back here. He was technically a Warrior last season, right?
Yeah,
Then the ACL injury, missed almost the whole year, got traded to Brooklyn mid-season, and did his entire surgery rehab with the Nets.
That's pretty unusual.
Yeah.
Essentially, they traded an injured player, let another team oversee his recovery, and then brought him back once he was healthy. He gives them exactly what they need off the bench, that defensive pressure, the floor spacing. But the biggest name, the most structurally important piece here has to be Horford.
Agreed. Horford reportedly agreed to a multi-year deal, and he's the presumed starting center. That's a huge shift from their usual center-by-committee thing. What does he bring? Why is he such a stabilizer?
Horford is just, he's the consummate modern veteran big. Super high basketball IQ on defense, can stretch the floor with his shooting, and crucially lets them control the pace.
Yeah.
Having that trusted vet presence, someone who understands managing minutes, covering for the older guys, it's essential. It's about stability, not just the starting five. But here's the really weird part, the reality of the situation. Horford literally cannot sign his contract yet, can't even practice with the team, because his final salary number, it has to fit perfectly within the financial constraints dictated by whatever happens with Kuminga.
So everything, absolutely everything, circles back to Jonathan Kuminga, like a very, very expensive game of Jenga, you said.
That's a good way to put it.
Oh, and by the way, they did lock up their second-round pick, Will Richard. 4-year deal, 2 guaranteed. That brings the official count to 13 committed players.
But yeah, let's dive into the main event. Kuminga, he's the whole pivot point. Everything stops with him.
Absolutely. And the tension, you can feel it. Kuminga made his position clear pretty quickly. Didn't travel to San Francisco. Won't be at media day on Monday. That's a strong signal. Either bad faith or just extreme frustration, probably the latter.
Yeah, that's not a good lit heading into camp.
And GM Mike Dunleavy Jr., he spoke with Kuminga's agent, Aaron Turner, on Sunday. But the word is there's just no momentum. Zero movement towards a long-term agreement.
The real deadline, the pressure point, is Wednesday night, right? Wednesday, 11:59 p.m. Eastern. That's when the one-year qualifying offer, the QO, expires. After that, The options change dramatically.
Okay, let's make sure everyone understands exactly what the Warriors have put on the table, because the structure of these offers, that seems to be the sticking point.
Right. So the Warriors have 3 specific offers out there right now. Offer 1, 2 years, $45 million total. Offer 2, 3 years, $75.2 million total. Now, both of those, the higher paying ones, include a team option for the final season. That's key.
A team option, meaning the Warriors controlled last year.
Exactly. Then there's offer 3, 3 years, but only $54 million total. Significantly less money. But crucially, this one has no team option.
So the Warriors are basically saying, you want security, fine, but you take less money, you want the big bucks, we keep control.
That's the gist of it.
And Kuminga's side is pushing back hard. They're apparently citing, quote, years of confusion about his role. They seem to expect his minutes and opportunities to keep fluctuating under Steve Kerr, and they're worried, maybe rightly so, that could lead to him getting dealt mid-season.
Precisely. So Kuminga's camp is demanding a player option. They want that as a sign of good faith, of trust. Either give him the player option or seriously bump up the money on that 3-year deal that doesn't have the team option. They want protection against being traded, or they want the freedom that comes with being able to leave sooner.
Okay, which brings us to the ultimate leverage play. Kuminga is apparently threatening. It's risky. You don't see RFAs do it often, but taking the qualifying offer.
This is where it gets really spicy. Kuminga is signaling he's actually willing to play this season on the $8 million qualifying offer. Now, think about the immediate hit. If you're Kuminga, you're instantly giving up, $15.3 million next season compared to the other offers on the table. That's a massive amount of money to just walk away from.
$15 million. Why? Why would any young player leave that kind of money on the table right now? What's the upside? What's the reward for taking that financial hit?
The reward is pure, unadulterated control. That's the prize. Taking the QO gives him 2 incredibly valuable things. First, for this entire upcoming season, he gets an automatic, built-in no-trade clause. He controls where he plays. The Warriors can't ship him out unless he says okay.
Okay, that's significant power right there.
Huge power. Second, and this is the nuclear option for the team, it makes him an unrestricted free agent in the summer of 2026. No restrictions, free to sign anywhere.
Unrestricted in 2026. Why is that specific year so important? What's the significance there?
That's projected to be the summer where the salary cap really jumps. We're hearing projections that maybe 10 teams, almost a third of the league, could have significant cap space open up. So imagine Kuminga hitting the open market then. He'd be, 23 years old, coming off a season where he likely played a big role because of this contract situation. He'd be in line for a max or very close to it.
And the Warriors, they risk losing the number 7 pick from the 2021 draft for absolutely nothing in return.
Nothing. That's the nightmare scenario for Golden State.
Wow. So if I'm Mike Dunleavy Jr., you have to be sweating this, right? You draft this raw, high-potential kid, you spend years developing him, and now you might lose him for 0 compensation, all because you wouldn't budge on adding a player option. Is the risk of losing their asset really worth more than the risk of him maybe using a player option 3 years down the line?
That's the $1 million question, or maybe the $75 million question they're grappling with right now. But team sources seem pretty dug in. They're holding firm, saying they will not include a player option. They believe their current offers are fair market value. Essentially, they seem to be trying to call Kuminga's bluff. They're betting he won't actually walk away from that $15 million guarantee next year.
Matt, it's a serious game of high-stakes chicken.
Yeah.
And it's having real ripple effects right now, beyond just Kuminga. It affects Al Horford sitting there waiting to sign his deal.
It's exactly right. Kuminga is penciled in as player number 14 on the roster. The final size, the structure of whatever deal he takes, or if he takes the QO, directly impacts the team's flexibility for that crucial 15th roster spot. And maybe most importantly, it determines whether they cross that second apron threshold.
Okay, let's quickly define that again for listeners. We keep saying dreaded second apron. Why is it so bad? What actually happens if the Warriors go over that line?
Yeah, it's not just about paying a bigger luxury tax bill, though that's part of it. Crossing the second apron means you lose critical team-building tools. You lose access to things like the mid-level exception in future years. You can't aggregate salaries and trades, which makes acquiring another high-salary player almost impossible. You can't even send cash out in deals. It really restricts your movement.
So staying under the second apron means they keep some financial wiggle room for the next few years, lets them tweak the roster around Steph, Clay, Draymond as they age. Going over basically locks them into this current structure, hands tied.
That's it in a nutshell. So Yeah, they're holding up the final numbers for Horford. They're holding up serious talks for that 15th spot we heard reports about Seth Curry being a possibility. They have to know Kuminga's exact cap number first, so they can carefully manage that apron line. This Wednesday deadline, it's not just about Kuminga's future. It's about the Warriors' entire organizational strategy for the next few years.
So the Warriors are juggling, trying to manage the cap, hold on to a key draft asset, finalize their starting lineup, and it all hinges on a young player demanding control, holding all the leverage until Wednesday night. It really is a perfect snapshot, isn't it? A team trying to balance winning now versus keeping future assets safe. It's the challenge every dynasty hits eventually, especially with its younger core. We'll find out by midnight Wednesday if the Warriors blinked or if Kuminga grabbed his freedom.
Thank you for listening. Please comment, like, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, Spotify, please leave a 5-star review. And until next time, remember that there is always something to talk about in the NBA world.